We're here today with our thought leadership session here with Melanie again. And we want to talk a little bit about why sellers should think bigger. We've talked about leadership. We've talked about scaling. So let's shift a little bit to global expansion. Why should sellers consider expanding to Europe? Why is it so essential?
So there are three main reasons why sellers should look at expanding over into Europe. You've got more customers, more sales. You are seeking diversification. So you're not just diversifying on your products, but you're diversifying on marketplaces. You are capitalizing on seasonality, different country, different shopping patterns.
Different holidays.
Different holidays, meaning that you can generate sales all around the year. We've got Amazon Europe, you've got Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Sweden, recently Republic of Ireland. And culturally, these countries are different. So when you are looking at capitalizing on diversification, you are relying on one country's economy, marketplace, regulation, but also you are reducing any risks that are there on you being in one country. In America, that's if you're in America, or in Canada, if you're in Canada or Mexico. So I would say that diversification is, for me, it's one of the most important pieces.
So we know a lot of sellers. I know you and I both know personally a lot of sellers. They're hesitant sometimes because they think about logistics. They think about VAT, the compliance, the regulations. It's a little daunting sometimes, but what would you say, and is your best advice to a seller that's hesitant about VAT expansion and all of these things?
So I understand hesitation. I understand that it can be costly. VAT, EPR, customs, regulation, it all sounds huge. It's a huge topic. And it sounds complex. And as a seller, I'm just a designer. I'm a creator. And when you're talking about taxes and all the regulation that is around expanding over into a new country, it creates an immediate barrier, which means that I am thinking I shouldn't actually expand because there's going to be issues there. And I want my international profile to be clean so that I don't owe any other country any taxes. This is where partnering with experts that can manage this, and it goes back to what we spoke about on part one, where we talk about delegation. This is part of delegation as a business. I will delegate all the services or the things that I cannot manage over to an expert that is going to be able to deal with that. So partnering with experts is one thing that I would say is very important. Sellers who delay expansion due to compliance concerns or often realize that later they've lost out a lot of months, years, and of revenue that they could have actually achieved in a really short space of time. Besides that, other people will come into the market and actually sell your product because it doesn't exist in Europe. So that's why when I speak to sellers, especially from the US, I'm like, other people will actually overtake you. That you will find your product available in the US. So here's a use case for you. I'm at an event in Amazon Accelerate, and we have got an event with Helium 10. After that event, I've got a seller that comes through and say, hey Melanie, I want to talk to you about launching into the UK and Europe. However, I've just discovered that my product is being sold, exactly the same product, by another business, and I am trademarked and this product is patented, so it's not supposed to be sold anywhere else. But that's the reality. My take was, this is the reality. If you don't launch your product in international market and make it available and do a duplication of the system, other people will do that for you. Yeah. So another piece is third-party logistics, 3PL. For brands that want more control, 3PLs are more flexible than ever, and they often have lower cost than launching or putting your product on a platform like Amazon. The key to have is to have a solid logistics plan before launching to ensure that you give your sellers, or your clients rather, a seamless experience. Now, if you're talking about Europe, I wouldn't have a 3PL in each and every country that is out there. I'd be looking at having one central point and then get your inventory from one country and distribute it to all the other countries in Europe. Or use, if you're going to be using Amazon FBA, still have that third-party fulfillment center so that you don't suffer from long-term storage fees from that platform. So get a local distribution in the locality, because European sellers also, they want to make sure that they can actually receive their products tomorrow or today if possible, instead of waiting for days before they are delivered.
So these are multiple ways that sellers can actually ensure smooth fulfillment across Europe.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And speaking about, not only smooth fulfillment, but the customer experience, do sellers actually have to localize every single one of their listings in each market?
So definitely, localization is a game changer. Copying and pasting listings from one American English to another one, it's not going to work. So proper translation, local keyword research, even adapting just images makes such a huge difference to products when they actually launch in other marketplaces. European consumers, what they will actually expect is for you to give them that localized shopping experience, and brands that invest in this, they actually often receive higher conversions. And again, it's about delegation. Okay, I don't speak German, or I don't know British English. How do I actually farm this job or this task out to somebody that knows about it? So taking a bit of a step back, if you're going to be looking at expanding over into more European or into Europe or into a new platform, I would say that do a cost analysis. These are the things that you're going to have to think about so that they just don't come in as a surprise. So again, you're thinking, oh, this is actually complex. It is actually not complex. We're living in 2025 whereby, there's the internet everywhere.
There's AI everywhere.
AI everywhere. So find the partners that are going to be working with you. I know actually one agency, and I will say that it's one of the best agency on localization, YLT's translations. When you're talking about e-commerce localization, they are the masters of that. Now, you've got another option. You've got Google, which I wouldn't recommend. I remember.
We speak multiple languages. Even we know when you use Google Translate, it's just not there.
But believe it or not, there's still businesses today that use the translation tools.
Yeah.
I don't know if AI works to the highest level of localizing a product today. I'm sure it will in the future, but I would still make sure that I check it with a human. So the human experience, it's so important, especially when we're talking, because there's words that are not available on AI that we sort of like name things. So I would say that definitely localization is one of the most important ones.
Yeah. I would even add, the lifestyle images in one country don't always convert or work the same in another country. So just like the keywords won't always work, or the same words won't work, even if it's US English, for example, or words in Canada or words in the UK, the images are a really big thing as well.
100%.
Do you have any success story? I know you spoke a little bit about a seller and an example previously, but do you have a specific success story you want to share with us today of a seller that maybe expanded into Europe and was successful?
Yeah. One thing that I would say is that, unfortunately, in life, it's not everybody that tries something and becomes successful. Mm-hmm. But I would say that those people that have done proper research on the brands that they launch, they normally have much more success. I'll take a beauty brand that we launched around April of 2024. I don't know if I can say it, but it is a beauty brand, and it is a Australian celebrity-led beauty brand that launched in Europe. They first launched with Amazon, and recently we've launched them with TikTok. So we've had to do things differently, because when they launch with Amazon, they launch with their home country company into Europe. And within a few months, that beauty brand, actually, it's one of the biggest within Amazon France and Germany. With TikTok, I've got no doubts, because the guy is a celebrity and he's an influencer. I've got no doubts that, you know, it's going to be a brand that's going to be picking up as well on TikTok. So the key to all this is that they optimize their listing, they leverage an Amazon fulfillment network, and they price their product competitively to launch in the market. The beauty industry, I think, is a highly saturated one, mm-hmm. but you know, it focuses on women, so we love nice things. and one thing that we do well is that we are not consistent when it comes to beauty brands. We buy whatever that works at that point in time. So they're one of the biggest brands today in France and Germany. And that took a period of less than a year for them to be successful.
And this kind of leads into my next question. What would you say to a seller that says, I'll just expand later? You know, what happens if they wait?
Yeah, I would say they risk missing out. Europe is still full of opportunities. The regulation that exists, I think what sellers do, they take that as a big block, especially with US sellers, because I go out to events and they see the word VAT. No, VAT, no, we don't want to know about that. VAT is bad. There is more that is required in order for you to launch in Europe than just VAT. So the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to build your brand recognition and also marketplace ranking, which I think is very, very important. First movers, they gain the traction faster. They get the benefits of long-term customer loyalty. So again, I would say that it's just, if you don't launch your brand in Europe, somebody else is going to do it for you. We have got Ireland as a platform that's opened recently. Many sellers are in the process of launching in that platform. Amazon is going to put a fulfillment center in Ireland, which is great. Amazon is launching they've actually launched a promotion on Ireland, so which means they pay for your compliance in Ireland for the first 2 years. Now that is so important from a business point of view, and if you look at Amazon as a platform, you've got a company that is expanding into other countries. Amazon is in Europe already, but not in all of Europe, and they are still expanding. But what they are saying is that, seller, come with me. I am going to pay for your compliance for the first 2 years. So I look at those things and I'm like, it's just no brainer to wait and not launch in other countries or other platforms where Amazon exists. The one thing that is very important is that once you've launched with Amazon in those in those countries, now think about the other platforms that are bigger than Amazon in those countries, because Amazon might actually be new in Ireland. There are other platforms that exist in Ireland.
Yep.
So think about those platforms and say, how can I actually make sure that my product is available? I always make an example of Allegro, which is a platform that people found very hard to launch in Poland. Allegro today is more open than ever for sellers to actually launch their brands in it. So if you're going to be launching under the Pan EU on Amazon, which means you're going to be registered, or the Pan EU 7, you're going to be registered in Poland. You have to think about the fact that now that my product is going to be stored in Poland, I will launch on the next marketplace. If your product is available in Germany and you are under Amazon FBA, so which means your product is available in the country, so you need to think about the fact that I'll be looking at the next platform that is bigger or better for me in that country, so which means you're doubling up.
Going back to that diversification.
100%.
It's not just staying in one place and doing one thing, it's diversity.
And one platform as well. That's one thing that's very important, is that you're just not staying in one platform that you know from the US, right? But you are actually in the country now, in Germany or in France, you are now diversifying because the product is available. So you don't need new regulation, new compliance, new VAT registration. Everything is just going to be tied together.
Yeah. And if a seller's considering actually expanding, but they just don't know where to start, where would you say, you know what, this is my advice, this is where you start? When we first went into market on a Basque, we started small. We started using partners, and I would say that that probably maybe was our test into the market, to build a test case, I would say. And same applies with sellers. So start small, but start now. Test 2 key markets, get your compliance sorted, refine your logistics company. I know there's a lot of talking about tariffs today. Expansion doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's about you taking the right steps and at the right time as well. And most importantly, you don't have to do it alone. Partner with experts that are going to be saving you time and money and the stress of not expanding your business into international markets. Amazing. Well, thank you, Melanie, for joining us on our second thought leadership session, and we'll be back with more.